Sup, y'all, and welcome to episode 1 of season 2 of TarValon Talks. Doll, Fenya, and myself, Thad, are going to kick this season off right with a Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime preview. We'll be diving into the trailer and featurettes and giving you our ideas on what's headed, our way come season 2 of Wheel of Time. Spoiler warning, though, this episode may contain spoilers for both the TV show and the book series, so you've been warned.
May contain spoilers? I think it will.
Oh no, it's going to contain spoilers.
Will contain spoilers.
So we want to start with the trailer.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that trailer. There's so much. I mean, let's do one of the first, I guess, big ones. Is we see Rand at the spine of the world at the Dragon Wall, about to probably go over into Aiel country.
Yeah, that's kind of where we left him at the end of season 1, right?
No, at the end of season 1, he's trudging his way out of.
Well, out into the the Blight.
Yeah, he's up in the Blight, and he's just like, "See you later," and just disappears.
I said waste. I get the waste Blight. It's the same word.
Same concept.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on who you ask, I guess.
I guess the Aiel might disagree.
I mean, they say the threefold land, right?
Yeah, that's their name for the waste.
Yes.
Okay. For a second, I was thinking that was their name for the other side of the spine, but it's been too long since I've read the books.
I feel like that, honestly. I feel like that about the trailer. Like, there are lots of things in it. I'm not going to recognize very many of them because I've only read the books once and it was like a year ago.
So it should be relatively fresh in your mind then, right?
That was like, I don't know, 150 books ago. So no.
So the second important one we saw is we got to see Baalzamon walking around a table full of hooded figures, which is basically this was the meeting of the Dark Friends. This was the Boar's point of view that we got at the beginning of, I think, book 2.
2 or 3.
I think book 2 or book 3. But yeah, this was kind of like one of the first big other side of the coin kind of points of views that we got. So that means that potentially if they stick to it being, we know him as Boars. Which White Cloak was he? He's a White Cloak. I forget his name.
I'm going to be so useless.
Joachim.
That was Carradine, yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Google. Joachim Carradine. Yes. Now, also, if you have not already done so, if you go back to season 1 and you watch episode 8 and you watch all the way to the end, you can see the Dark Friend social all the way through. They have put it at the end of episode 8. There's a preview, and it's the first scene from season 2.
We talked about that, and I forgot about it.
I actually just watched it the other night again, well, for the second time. And we do get kind of a lot of information there. Like, we see clues as to who some of the other Dark Friends are. So I thought it was a great scene.
It is great. So if you haven't watched it yet, you should definitely go do that. But yeah, it starts off with a little girl outside the fortress. I'm not entirely sure where it's set. Probably somewhere near the waste or Blight waste, whatever.
If it's the meeting of Dark Friends, that happens in Teleron Riod.
Oh yeah, but this one
may not happen in Teleron Riod.
Yeah, this one may be set in our world, or this little girl just happens to be there.
Well, and she calls one of the characters mom.
Yes, and it appears to be a tinker. Because she has some a brightly colored clothing.
Yeah, so
like the tinker style.
So I would kind of be surprised if it did take place in Teleron Riod, just because why would you bring your daughter, your little child there with you to this meeting?
Yeah, well, I mean, people stumble haphazardly into the world of dreams momentarily.
That's true.
Hey.
But anyway, the little girl gets chased down by a Trolloc.
Ooh. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely not the world of dreams if there's Trollocs in there. So on the third thing that we have, I'm kind of going in order of how the trailer went, and I haven't listed everything. So if I miss something, just be like, "Hey, you forgot about this." We can talk about that. But the next big thing that I saw is we see Baalzamon channeling, and the channeling he's doing is a little bit different because the channeling is like kind of a lightish greenish color, and I'm thinking, are we seeing him channel the true source, the true power from the Dark One himself?
That's possible.
Because up until this point, we haven't seen it, even though he's probably been doing it.
That's true. We haven't seen a lot of Rand channeling either, so we don't really know what Sidene.
So I mean, we've seen Logain do
Mm.
it, and when he does it, you see the corruption kind of happening with it. Later in the trailer, we do see Rand channeling, and his channeling is like kind of reddish colored.
Yeah.
Not like, we've seen with the Aes Sedai so far, to where it's just a simple white color. So it'll be interesting to see, what Balsamon is channeling. I think it's true power. And then later on with Rand, we get to see potentially that's what sighting actually looks like
Mhm.
before it corrupts. But we've seen Logain channel, was completely
Yeah.
different.
It makes me wonder, actually, if we're going to have slightly different representation for channeling just in general, and it's not specifically male channelers. I mean, those are who we see in the trailer, right? But, like, are we gonna see the Aes
Mhm.
Sedai channeling in a different manner?
Maybe.
So far, the only correlation to both of them that we have is, like I said, what we've seen between Logain, who was the only male channeler outside of the flashbacks with Rand, with the corrupted channeling in season 1. So we kind of don't have a really good idea of what's
That's
going
true.
on yet.
Yeah, because Rand's channeling in season 1 looked like
Mhm.
Logain's.
To where it's just like the white shooting out, or it's the white starts out first and then the black chases it because it's
Mhm.
corrupted.
Yep.
So, one of the next things we see is a lady coming out of the blood.
Yeah, the bloody girl. Who do you think the bloody girl is? Because I don't know. I've been thinking about this. I have no idea on who it could be.
I think it's Celine.
You think it's Celine?
Yeah.
I mean, in the book, she just kind of shows up. She's being like accosted by some Grom when they're doing their
Yeah.
portal traveling, and she's just there. She's like, "Oh, I got lost," and Rand goes, "I'll save you."
I think maybe she's showing up in Rand's dreams, and this is from a dream.
That seems kind of odd for her because she likes to be prim, proper, and powerful. This seems like a more of a Mogedian thing to do.
When do we get
I
Mogideon?
didn't think that Moghedien showed up until quite, like, mid in the series.
I don't think she shows up until post book 3, actually.
Although, that being said, like, that's not really any reason why it couldn't be Moghedien.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. They're doing stuff out of order on the TV show. It's an adaptation, so it's not going to be one to one.
Yeah.
So I mean, potentially we could be seeing a new Forsaken coming out to play.
The other possibility is that it is from one of the accepted tests that, I mean, obviously the girls are going to do their test when they go back to the tower.
We see Nynaeve. We see a bunch of scenes with
Mhm.
Nynaeve at her test in the tower. We see her approaching the arches. We see them channeling the arches active, and I'm pretty sure there's like 2 scenes with her inside the arches doing stuff, because there's one of them with her hands being bloody.
Mhm.
Because her accepted tests was, the first one is she was in a maze running away from Agenor because she was super afraid of Agenor. And then in the second one, she had gone back to
We didn't get Agenor.
we didn't get Agenor in season 1, so I don't know how they're going to handle that portion of the silver arches of the accepted test. And then with the second arch or third arch, I don't know, I don't remember the order, but she's back at not the White Tower. She's back in Emmons Field, and some lady from Terran Ferry has become the Wisdom, and she's basically been poisoning the town and kind of killing people off. And she has to like leave Emmons Field. That was part of her test, was leaving Emmons Field behind because the arch appeared. And she was like, make the choice to stay and save Emmons Field or leave it. And I'm now drawing a blank on her third one. I think it was something to do with land, though.
Yeah, I think it was.
That sounds right.
Like she had a child. I think she had a
Mhm.
child with land. Yeah, that's what it was. She had a child with land, and the arch appears, and Land's basically like calling after her, "No, please stay!" And she's crying, and she runs. No, because the arch disappears at first with her on that one,
Yeah.
and then she kind of wills it back. Because even when she gets back through, they're just like, "Hey, the arches went dim for a second. We thought you were gone."
Which one of them had some kind of issue with the arches? What was that, Egwene?
No. That was the one with Nynaeve, where the arch disappeared and then it came back, because it was, you only have one chance. Because if the arches disappear, you're stuck. You're gone. So the next scene that we have in the trailer is we see some Damane channeling in one of the villages, and I assume that this is one of the West Coast villages. When they make landfall, they're just like, "Here's a show of our power." Kaboom! Basically, we get to see a little flexibility in what they're capable of, which is a lot.
That or Tyr.
You think it's Tyr?
I mean, it could be that or when the Ayo come and
Mhm.
run them off.
Yeah, that could be potential. I thought what they were blowing up looked like to be kind of either a fishing village kind of setting, or just something outside of a major city, just like the farmlands.
It's one of those two. Like it's either in tier or outside of tier.
Yeah,
I don't think they have enough time to do a lot of extraneous Sean blowing up random villages because we only have 8 episodes.
we have 8 episodes. Yeah, something like that.
Every episode they blow up another village to make it tier.
That's the Shanchan.
I mean, yeah.
Either you give us our land back, or we'll just raise the land.
That is kind of what they do in the books.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. They capture villages, make them swear an oath, and then let them go on their way.
Yeah.
That's what they did a lot.
They just assume people will keep their oaths.
And really, a lot of these people are just like, these people are crazy. I've got farms to field, or I've got fields to farm. So
Farms to field.
Well, and I mean,
farms to field.
logistically for the townspeople and the farmers, like nothing changes.
It really doesn't.
No, we just get a good setting. We could, you know what? We'll skip ahead a little bit with that, because we do see a scene very specifically of the Damane attacking Egwene, and I don't know who the actor is, but it's the redheaded actor that's been cast as one of the other.
Elaine?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that would be Elaine, wouldn't it? Yeah. So I don't pay attention to the castings as much as I probably should, because I'm just like, I'm going to watch the episodes anyways.
I only pay attention to the castings because Dianna tells me all about them.
But also, redheaded actor,
Mm.
it's either going to be, an Aiel or one of the royal family of Andor.
Sheriam.
Is she redheaded?
I thought she was redheaded.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
she wasn't. Yeah, you're right. It's either Aiel or, one of the people that's has claim to the Sun Throne.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's most definitely Elaine at that point. But yeah, we see a Damane attacking Egwene directly, and Egwene just kind of fends her off like it's nothing, and we see Elaine running off in the background. And I think that is the scene that we get in the books where Leandrin leads them away from the tower, all the way to Falma, and then betrays them to Sarath to become Damane. So I think we get to see that journey, which means that Nynaeve runs away and fights her way off.
Yeah, based on something that my mind just went blank. The actor who plays Egwene,
Madeline?
yes. Something that Madeline said in an interview, that there was a scene in this episode or this season that was very hard to film, but was very impactful. And
I think we know which scene that is.
100% the coloring.
Oh man, it was so brutal that I was like, even when I watch it during the trailer, it hits me as hard as it does in the books, because that is just, it's unsettling. Because we had 2 of those scenes in this trailer too, because the first scene we see her completely ragged wearing the collar, and then later on we see her potentially getting shackled for the first time.
Oh, God, I get chills just thinking about it.
It's too much. It's too much. It is too much. Just thinking about it. So going back, I know that when we were talking about the bloody girl, you mentioned that it could be Lanfear, but we do see Rand meeting this new woman, which we all can assume to be Selene at this point. Lanfear.
Well, no, they've confirmed that actress is Selene.
Yes.
We do know
that is Selene.
Yeah, we
okay,
do
so
know that
yeah,
that
so
is Selene.
that is Selene. So how they're going to meet is what I'm interested in, because in the books we have Rand. They travel through the portal stones.
Yeah.
Him and because it's him, Huron, Loyal, and a few others who are traveling through the portal stones, and that's how they met Selene. I wonder if they're going to do portal stone travel.
I don't think so. I mean, why would they? Because the portal stones, besides this meeting with Selene, which can easily be, added in elsewhere or changed somehow, the portal stones don't really have any impact on the story. And we never see them again. So
it's not entirely true.
Okay, well, they didn't
they're at the end of the series.
They're not functionally utilized in any kind of great way. I can see in the books, they work in the books for what they do, because they advance the story as they need to. Oh no, we went through the portal stone and it took 4 months to get to Falma. Uh-oh. it works that way to kind of like slingshot the storytelling so everybody meets up at the same time. But since we're kind of on crunch time with 8 episodes and all of this stuff going on, yeah, I can see them kind of not utilizing that for it.
Yeah, I mean, I like, sure, they do have some purpose in the books, but that purpose could easily be done in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that Jordan utilized the portal stones as they deserve to be utilized. So to me, it makes total sense that they would cut them.
They're there. We've already seen them.
You mean we've seen them in the show?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
When everybody's coming into TarValon.
Everybody passes a portal stone coming into TarValon, so it's in the background. There is one time where Rand uses the portal stone, because I know that Fenya said that it doesn't really get utilized very well in the books, but there's one good spot to where he's like, I'm going to use the portal stone to transport this entire Aiel army, and everyone's just like, are you sure about that, Rand? And he's just like, yeah, I got this.
Okay, that's true. That is a good usage of it. It is not enough to warrant inclusion in the books. I mean, inclusion in the show, in my opinion, when that's like one usage out of 14 books.
Oh no, I totally agree. No, if they're gonna use it one time, that is when you should use it.
But we do see the portal stones in the show. They aren't called out, but we see every single one of the groups pass one as they go into TarValon.
So they are in the background.
I think that's going to remain just a nice little Easter egg for fans of the portal stones.
I think you're right. They have their purpose, and they weren't fully utilized, and they're connected to things that we didn't see all of in the book. They're in the background. They have something to do with the Book of Worlds or whatever it's called that the Ogier talk about opening.
The Book of Transformation?
The translation, that's Book of Translation. They have something to do with that.
I mean, like, I love them as a concept. I wish we got more of them in the books.
And I think they might also be connected to the Aiel and the Elfin and the Ilfin.
We don't get any of that. I mean, like,
No.
So yeah, I think missed opportunity on Jordan's part or Sanderson's part.
Yeah.
Or both of their parts.
Yeah, I think it was one of those we might have gotten more of if Jordan had stopped introducing
new characters, new concepts, all that stuff. I mean, the books are supposed to be a trilogy originally, right?
Hey, look, new plot line in book 8.
What about the plot line from book 2?
Oh, you don't get that. New side plots. So anyway, let's back to the trailer.
Yeah, so after that, one of the next big things that we see a scene with Perrin and one of the wolves, and a voice going like, "You've got something inside you," which I assume is Elias. So we'll finally get some more expansion on Perrin's character arc, since we got very little outside of dealing with, a fridged wife, basically.
No, I forgot about the fridged wife.
I think a lot of us would like to forget about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely Elias, or whatever stand-in they have for Elias. Oh no, we got a casting for Elias, didn't we?
I thought we got a casting for him.
So that is definitely him. And he's talking about the wolf inside.
So we're gonna get a lot of Perrin being angsty about wolves.
Angsty Perrin. I know I can't be a wolf. That's evil.
I'm bracing myself now.
I can hope that maybe they'll do a little better job of not making it so angsty teen. He is a little older now.
I mean, like, talking to wolves is so cool. I don't understand where his distaste for it lies.
He just doesn't understand it.
I would love to be able to talk to wolves and have my eyes. I mean, yeah, but well, I hope that they handle it in a way that makes his feelings a little more sympathetic and relatable and understandable. Because I mean, I wish my eyes glowed golden and I could talk to wolves. That sounds rad.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but I can see where it would be really freaky if, like, it just sort of happened to you after you've already been swept up by a Aes Sedai that you thought was a myth until just a few minutes ago, and your village had been stormed by, evil creatures that destroyed it and killed all your friends. And, as far as you know, that just makes you one of those evil creatures.
Yeah, but he angsts about it for, like, 10 books. Maybe that's, like, 8 books too many.
No, because eventually he starts angsting about his missing wife. So,
Okay. That's still a lot of angst.
We could do a whole episode on just that, by the way.
and Perrin and his angst.
Perrin angsting on his wife. Yeah, so we'll finally get to see some Wolf Brother action with Perrin, which will be nice to see. Because did we get a casting for Fael for this season? I forget.
There's been a rumored casting, but I don't know if it's actually been confirmed.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So no angsting on the wife yet. So we don't get any. It looks like we're not going to get any Lord Perrin this season.
Yeah, there's a leak about who she is, but not a confirmed casting. But
Okay.
it does seem like she should appear in this season, being the Great Hunt. She can be Mandarb.
Wouldn't that be wild if not this weekend, but next weekend at DragonCon they drop some more info.
Next week at DragonCon, we'll have 3 episodes.
Oh, that's very true. That is very.
So they will be dropping
will
more
be.
info next weekend.
Yes, technically yes. So if we go in the order of the trailer, we've already talked about this, but we got to see more of Egwene being leashed. We get to see the collar. I like how it's not like they've previously described that it's a literal just leashed collar in the books, and this one they're going with kind of half breastplate collar combo for it instead of it just being a simple collar.
So less kink, more jewelry.
Yeah. Except the TV show adds that weird mouth guard thing to the Damane. So
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
we don't get a lot of, I guess, points of view from other Damane outside of like a very special couple. So we don't get a lot of how, because we know that the Damane are just basically Davokol slaves to their masters and stuff like that, and it's not like they're linked to one person. It's anybody who wears the brace can, or the bracelet can control them. So I'm interested to see how this is going to adapt to TV, because when what we've seen on TV on visually so far, I haven't seen how they're linked to.
So that could lead us into one of the other aspects of the things we've gotten in previews, which is the character sketches, because there's a very detailed sketch of the Damane costume, including the wrist bracelet for the Soldam.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you looked at it.
I glanced at it earlier, but I think I've already forgotten because there's so much. There's so much.
Yeah, I'll share a link with you, but they shared it on Facebook, and the first is Sirath, and then you have Moraine and Swan, and then you have the Damane, and this first is a sketch, and then a little more detail of the Adam, and then an actual picture of them from the preview. It's kind of interesting. They've made it like a more of a cuff than a bracelet, much like it's not a collar, but more of a chest piece.
I mean, I feel like what they've done with all of it is make it more visually imposing.
It's definitely more visual.
And it stands out a lot more than a simple collar, a simple bracelet does.
Yeah.
So it's much more distinct and easier to recognize on the screen.
It is.
Yeah, because in the books it was always kind of a, how do you get this off? Because you look at it and it links so perfectly you can't tell how to get it off. And you look at what they've got on the screen, it's like, how do you get that off?
Yeah, that is very imposing and very intimidating, and it also doesn't evoke too much of chattel slavery, which is one of my fears.
Mm-hmm.
It is very ornamental in a way that doesn't feel overly evocative of something we don't really want to mimic.
Yeah. So moving on with the trailer, one of the next big spots we have is we actually see the dagger with Matt again. And I assume that this is at the point to where they have made landfall, and this is basically not Suroth. There was one, I forget his name now, he's in book 2. He's basically the big
Turok.
Turok.
Mhm.
Turok, that was his name. Yeah, because I think he collects like Quain DR stuff specifically, but I think he came into the possession of the dagger because it got brought to him by Padden Fane.
He also had a seal.
Yeah, because we do specifically see Suroth open up a little special device, a little spinny device that pops up this little disc that I think is one of the seals of the Dark One's prison, a Quain DR disc. Because we see a huge one at the end of season 1 that gets cracked, but I think this is another one of the discs that we see. So we get to see Suroth, we get to see Quain DR. I'm pretty sure that the dude with the scar, with like all of the scars on his face, one of the high blood of the Shan Chan, I want to say that's Turok,
I believe so.
but I can only guess because they've made a point to show him a few times outside of showing a bunch of faceless soldiers. So because our two big bad Shan Chan at this point in the story is Suroth, who we know is a dark friend, because later in the trailer we see her with Balsamon. She's making a proclamation or something like that, and Balsamon's standing right next to her. So we know that she's a dark friend, more or less.
If that's Daniel Francis that you're talking about, Daniel Francis has been confirmed to be High Lord Turok.
He has been confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah. So that means that we get to see a very fun Blade Master battle this season. Potentially, right? Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I believe so, because in that first little preview, like first looks, we do see him come out like swinging his blade in front of some kind of fortress or castle.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah,
Don't we see that in the trailer as well? A clip of that?
we do. Yeah, they replay it in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. I think everything from that was also in the trailer.
And to kind of let's talk about one last thing, which we kind of skipped over. We see a lot of Rand. We see shirtless, very well toned Rand strapped to a wheel out in the Aiel waste. It looks like there's a device in the trailer that he's kind of like strapped in front of. I have no clue what this is. Like, I legitimately do not know what this is.
I guess we'll find out.
Do you two have any idea? Because I'm like,
No clue.
I'm grasping at straws, trying to be like, when was he like restrained like this?
It's another one of Robert Jordan's kinks, like spanking.
No, his kink was skirt smoothing. Let's be real.
In all seriousness, though, no, I have no idea.
Yeah, I've been trying to think about it, and I don't know what it could be. And I'm kind of glad on the surprise of it, because I want to be like, Rand, why are you shirtless in the waist? That seems like a bad idea.
He wants to tan.
Oh, and of course, speaking of the waist, we actually do get Avienda in the trailer veiling herself before fighting an unknown foe. We see Perrin in the background when she's veiling herself, I think.
Yeah.
So we get to see that. And as we saw, as all of us were at JordanCon last year, they showed off a little bit of when Avienda, Bane, and Chiad were introduced, and it looks like they're going to be involved somehow at Falma. Not quite sure how that's going to work out yet, but less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Other small things that we see in the trailer is we see Lan fighting a Fade. We also see this. I tried to pause it and see if I could see who it was, but we see this guy with a flaming sword shove it through a Fade, and I'm like, who is this?
Ooh, I remember that.
Yeah, that was like right at the very end.
Yeah, it's right near the end. I don't know who it is.
But they've got a flaming sword.
It looks really cool. It's a great visual.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of wraps it up for what we get to see in the trailer. Of course, we skipped all of the Moraine stuff, but if it keeps true to the books, Moraine really was not around for book 2. She was in one chapter of book 2, and that was when she visited some people to see something about the prophecy. So her journey is going to be for this season figuring out how to unshield herself, because she thinks she can't feel the source or anything like that. So I still think this is where we get a certain Brown in on the story a little early instead.
We do have a casting for that.
We do.
It would make sense. And it would also help Moraine be relevant in the season in a way that she's not in the books.
So we have some other stuff.
One small thing.
Did you have anything else to say?
Yeah, one small thing I'd like to point out about the trailer, and Moraine specifically, is we see a scene with her and Swan, and they're both wearing blue. And so I think that's going to be like a cold open flashback to before Swan became Amerlin, possibly when they first learn about the prophecy.
Is that where they were making out?
I don't remember if that was where they were making out. It might have been. It might have been.
Yeah, because they were still freshly raised blue at that point.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say freshly raised. I mean, that's kind of like saying, it's time constraints in the world of the Aes Sedai is a little more loose than what we would consider. But yeah, I think you're right. I think we're going to get some flashbacks with them. So moving on from that, we touched on the trailer. I know we didn't touch everything in the trailer, but I figured we'd try to touch all of the large stuff. We did kind of largely ignore Moraine, and then I mean even Swan was in the trailer, but all of her stuff was involved with Rand. There was even a spot with Rand going up to Logain going, "Hey, teach me how to channel," which, does happen in the books.
Yeah.
I hope that means that we're still going to get a Rand Elaine meet cute somehow, because we didn't get it in Camelin because they didn't have a Camelin in the first season. But I would love if that still happens somehow, even if it's slightly different from the books. Whatever, I don't care. But
I feel like I feel like that I need, if it doesn't happen this season, it needs to happen in a season to come. I need when they're in letter correspondence between Elaine and Rand, to where she sends him the letter and he's just like, "Mother's milk in the cup. What does she want?" Because she sends all of those letters back. They send those letters back and forth to each other, and it's like hot cold, hot cold. Because Rand's he's a wool-headed pig farmer, sheep herder. So I need to see some of that. That needs to translate over.
We really do need a meet cute though.
That'll probably happen because that's what happened in Tyr when the Aiel ransacked Tyr. That's where they had their meet cute. They were over in the corner, making out and whispering sweet nothings at each other.
No, it happens he meets Elaine and Camelin.
Yeah.
Like he climbs that wall.
Yeah. But that's when he meets her.
That's what the meet cute is.
Right.
It really gets hot and heavy.
That's their meet cute.
That's what a meet cute is.
That's how they meet.
The meet cute is literally the cute way a couple meet.
The cute meet.
Obviously, I don't know what meet cute means.
You don't know enough rom-com.
I do not.
It is the cute story of how a couple meet.
Oh, I see. Well, I have completely misunderstood that term for years.
Apparently.
Listeners, leave your comments on how I'm an idiot below.
I'll have to learn the word somehow.
That's true. So, outside of the trailer, they released a whole bunch of corresponding images of characters plus image of text, right? So, we've kind of, I say we, Doll has kind of compiled those into a Google Doc for us. And the first one, we just have Lan and Moraine. And what does it say, Doll?
Is a student of Ensai and Edian. Through their teachings varied greatly.
Though their teachings?
That does make more sense.
Anazi and Eden?
Yeah, Anazi and Eden. Is that Eden? That's how you... Oh, yeah, I guess it is.
I would have pronounced it Adain.
Could be.
So, between the three of us, you've got 3 different pronunciations to choose from.
And in this old tongue underneath it were old tongue script for time codes that somebody on Twitter figured out. So the time codes are from episodes. So it's like season 1, episode 1 at 1712. Somebody says this word, these words or something to that effect. I didn't actually go back and look through the time code to see if that's actually what was said. I'm just going off of what I saw on Twitter.
Anybody have any idea of what this one can potentially mean? Because I don't, not for this one specifically.
They were having people figure out what these were about, and then they would reveal it, and it was about Moraine and Lan.
I see.
And I'm guessing Anazi and Eden were maybe somebody that Lan taught under or something, or maybe it's one of them was Moraine's and one of them was Lan's, and their teachings very great. I don't know. That one I wasn't as aware of. I'm not really familiar with those names.
Anasai is a Shianaran poet, according to the Wheel of Time wiki.
Okay, so that would be Lan.
And Apparently, she was a favorite poet of Moraine.
And Edain is
It's a Malkieri noblewoman,
yeah.
and she was Lan's first lover.
It's
Oh,
funny because if you just Google Edain T. Gemalan Arel, a Malkiri noble woman, lived in Falmoran and Shinar. Look at
That's how I got all that information. I certainly do remember any of it.
so I guess their teachings vary greatly.
that. Somebody had to teach Lan. So next up, we have one with Rand and Lanfear Celine, whoever you want to view it as first, because we'll actually get introduced to this character as probably Celine, who will get revealed to be Lanfear for TV viewers, but not book readers, right?
Probably.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that when they confirmed her character, they confirmed her as Celine specifically.
Sure.
So, I mean, obviously, yes, as book readers, we know she's going to be Lanfear too. But
Mm-hmm.
Let me go tell my parents this, who are only TV watchers, and they go, "Why does she have two names?" Soul of fire, heart of stone, in pride he conquers, forcing the proud to yield.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure that's from the Carithian cycle. So probably, and again, there was another timestamp, which was episode 2 at 46:56. So I'm guessing that is around the time that Moraine is saying something about the cycle. And then the third one is Perrin and Avienda, which is an interesting combination. These are actually out of order from when they posted them. I just posted them by how I copied and pasted them. This one said, kin to Gnome, but cousin of Billy. He who soars reveals his destiny.
So, do you remember who Gnome is?
Is that
Gnome he was a wolf brother too, right?
He was the wolf brother that Perrin found because they went to that one town and they go, "Yeah, this guy, he's been acting real funny. He growls and he bites at everybody. He's broken all of his teeth off. He's acting very feral." And Perrin released him into the wild. They wanted to like keep him shackled up in the farm in like one of the farmhouses because he had just completely succumbed to. He was a wolf brother before Perrin, and he wasn't like Elias, who was able to control it and stuff like that. He just kind of completely surrendered to it. So, kin to Gnome, but cousin of Beely. He who soars reveals his destiny.
I don't remember who Beely is.
me either?
So, he who soars reveals his destiny. Do you think that could have any could mean anything related? Knowing what we've seen in the trailer for season 2, do you think that could be Hopper?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the trailer, but that's Hopper. Oh,
I was also thinking Fail because isn't that like Falcon or something? That's a flying animal.
oh, that's true.
So, if you also remember Beely,
No, I don't remember. I don't remember
well,
Beely.
you may not. You may not remember this. So,
I don't remember Beely.
It's one that is a conger that died
so
into the back onto a river.
so Beely, the Beely I'm referring to was one of the names that Moraine had added to her list of potential Dragon Reborn candidates.
Nope, doesn't ring
This-
a bell.
Is this in the show or in the book?
This was book. This is book.
Oh.
This was in the books, right?
Is he the fourth boy on the book cover? There is a fourth person or fourth man on the cover.
No, he wasn't. This was from this is from the prequel novel for Wheel of Time, New Spring. This is one of the children that was born at the same time that I don't know if this is referring to that specifically, but there was a Beely that was born when Gitara did her foretelling in New Spring. So I don't know if this is referencing that, but this is what I remembered. I guess we'll find out though, right?
I guess we will.
According to fandom, Billy Adara is a cousin of Perrin.
Okay, so it's probably that then. So I
Yeah.
completely two Beelys in the Wheel of Time universe, and I referenced the wrong one.
Well, according to this, there's like many.
Cousin of Beely though. That would be Perrin.
Yeah, there's a lot of Beelys if you Google Wheel of Time Beely.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
I just remembered that one specifically.
Since Billy Adara is a cousin So it's probably, I mean, that's the one they're referring to because it's his cousin.
So then we know kin to gnome as in wolf brother kin, but cousin of Beely, which we know to be Perrin, he who soars reveals his destiny. Hopper always wanted to soar, right?
And then there was Billy Mendare, who was born in Lord Elisar's camp on the day of Guitarra Morris.
That's the one I was referencing.
Mm-hmm. That's the one you were talking about, but we don't know anything else about him.
Nah. I only remember him specifically because it was he was potentially a dragon reborn, but no, it was Rand.
Yeah.
And nothing about Avienda on this one.
Nope. No, it's weird because they all seem to be like talking about one of the characters, but not the other
Not
one.
the other.
Maybe the quote that's in the old script is actually about the other character. I never actually went back and looked at them.
So how about this next one? Think you can make any sense about the next one? Daughter of the tree of man, yet child of the fruit of trees. And then we have Leandrin and Nynaeve, which, in context of the show of what we've seen so far, they've been kind of pairing them together because we're going to see that eventual betrayal come when they go to Falma. So, what do you think daughter of the tree of man means?
Persimmons. I have no idea. I've never heard this quote. These are all supposedly from the book.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on this one specifically, but they've been playing up that Nynaeve isn't from Emmons Field originally, so they may be running with that somehow.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
So we'll just leave that one up in the air because I don't think any of us have anything really to say about that one.
No.
So we can move on to the next one, which is, who was this redheaded girl again? Oh yeah, Elaine. We've got Elaine and Egwene on the cover of this one. And for this one, it specifically says, Corianon's heiress and crystal weaver, she wields great earthly power. And what do we know about Egwene?
Yeah.
She has the aptitude of channeling earth, which is a kind of, men are usually stronger in channeling earth. But when they were testing her out, they found out that she had more prowess for channeling earth than, all of the women around her. Also, Corianon's heiress. So if you remember Corianon Nadir, who studied all of the ter'angreal and stuff like that in the tower, I think it just means kind of like, she's kind of taken up her mantle more than her actual being heiress of it. So
yeah, and she also weaves crystals.
Yes, yeah, that's very
Lots of crystals.
Lots of crystals. Lots of crystals. We'll leave it at that. No.
Yeah, we don't need to cry right now. And then we get Min and Matt.
We get new Matt.
New Matt. And this one says, the barrel stave, she is dressed in the miner's rest.
I think just because she likes to wear boy clothes.
I think the miner's rest is also a tavern.
Probably. There's like a billion of them.
Yeah.
It's a very tavern name.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I have no idea what the quote means, but I think it's interesting that they paired Matt and Min together.
Yeah, Min usually wants nothing to do with anybody unless it's Rand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it may have something to do with the fact that Matt is still back in TarValon, and we see, when we last see Min, she's heading somewhere, so she could end up in TarValon.
Well, we know Elmendretta ends up in TarValon.
We do know that, yeah.
And she does look a lot more femininely dressed in this picture.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like she could be wearing a dress or a skirt, potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to say
really
in that picture specifically. But yeah, because she gets to the tower and she's like, can I please get out of these dresses? And they're like, no, you have to remain in those dresses so that people don't know who you are. And she's just like, I just want to wear pants. Let me wear pants, please.
I mean, I would be the same. It would just be, I would be the same, Min. I would be the same. And then the last one we have is our old buddy, the dark one, Mr. Not Asmodean.
He's not frilly enough to be Asmodean.
No,
Balzamon.
What's his other name?
Ishamael?
Ishamael, yes.
That's the word, yeah.
That's the one. Oh, Ishi and Suroth. I wonder why Suroth is with Ishi.
I wonder. We see Suroth with Ishmael in the trailer, and now we see Suroth with Ishmael in these promo posters.
And the words are struck but not defeated at the door of the servants' hall. He healed a shattered mind to be cruel, not kind. Oh,
Do you remember?
I know what that means exactly.
Yeah.
It's our buddy
So
Lou.
this is basic. Yeah, this is basically struck but not defeated at the door of the servants' halls. This is when Lews Therin and his 100 companions defeated Ishmael.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, when Lews Therin is, basically going mad from the taint, and he has killed everybody.
And Ishi comes and heals his mind so that he can gloat.
Pretty much.
So what you're saying is this specifically is referring to the TV pilot Winter's Dragon.
Yes.
The excellent pilot Winter's Dragon.
It is finally canon and linked back in to the Greater Wheel of Time
Yes.
projects. It is a beautiful day for all Winter Dragon fans. You have been
Yes.
validated.
Vindication after so long.
Vindication for Billy Zane.
I think this was the easiest one because I read that and I knew exactly what it was immediately.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other, like, that is absolutely 100% a Shamael, like, without a doubt.
Lady Suroth is basically just a low-level dark friend, I guess, would be too mean to say, being Lady Suroth of the High Blood. But,
Spoiler. No, we did say this was going to be a spoilerific episode.
You were warned.
I'm pretty sure we've also already spoiled that she's a dark friend. So
Did we?
yeah.
I did.
Oh.
Way earlier on in the trailer.
Oops. But yeah, really cool seeing those and some interesting tidbits of information. And a really weird hunt that I never fully understood before everybody else figured it out.
Oh, yeah.
I still don't know what the timestamps mean. I needed to go back and listen and see if they actually meant anything.
I'm sure that there's someone on Twitter who has figured it out and compiled it already.
Oh, they're absolutely, like, I mean, the only reason I knew they were timestamps is because somebody else had.
Yeah, Twitter of Time is on it. Like, it's impressive.
I just thought it was fancy script on them. I didn't realize it was actual numbers. Like, today I learned that the Old Tongue actually has a script. I didn't know that. But yeah, one of the other things we got was a little thing with the Trollocs. Did any of you watch that?
I did watch it, yeah.
I think I missed that, so.
It's just them. I think it's Rosamund Pike who's giving a voiceover talking about the origins of the Trollocs, and I think they have some of the people who are involved in like the design and effects talking about some of the logistics.
Yeah.
They mentioned, for example, that they were really concerned about the safety of the stunt actors who are playing the Trollocs. So, like all of the horns, for example, are designed to break off when you fall and then clip back on easily to help avoid injury. So it's just a little more information about Trollocs and how they created them in the show.
Yeah. Also, a little more information about what they are, like the cross between humans and creatures, and how they chose the different creatures.
Yeah.
And who their favorite Trollocs were. And there was another little section where Rosamund Pike and a couple other of the actors talked about their favorite things, but I didn't actually watch it, so I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I didn't get that, but there's also a clip that's 5 things you need to know from season 1.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, so that's not so much them talking about their favorite things. It's them
I guess it was what you need to know.
Yeah, it's them giving a very high level overview of what happened in season 1 as like a recap.
Okay.
And I believe it's Rosamund Pike, Yosha, Ciara Coveney, who plays Elaine, the new Matt, what is his name? Finn, and then Perrin, whose actor I'm forgetting, Marcus. And they each give like one thing that happened in the season.
Okay. I caught a few minutes of it, but I didn't have time to watch it, and I never forgot to go back and watch it to see what it said. So.
Yeah, it's not long. It's just a couple minutes, and it is, like I said, this very like high level overview. So if you are not a huge Wheel of Time nerd and you need a refresher, you can go back and remember what season 1 was all about.
Or you could just go back and watch it all. You have a week.
Or you could listen to our podcast episodes about it.
That's true. That's true. So, in a little bit more than a week as of recording this, and probably a little less than a week once we release it, we will have the first 3 episodes. Do you guys have any, like, predictions for what you think we'll see in the first few episodes? Anything you're excited to see in upcoming season?
Honestly, and this is probably a bad time to say this given that we've just spent the last however long talking about what we think is gonna happen. I tend not to do that. Like, I tend not to try to predict what's gonna happen or, you know, watch all of the information. I generally don't even watch trailers, um, because I like going into a season just excited and not knowing anything. Um,
Whoops.
so this is why in our notes I was like, "I probably won't have that much to say actually."
I'm generally the same.
Yeah.
Usually when it comes to TV shows and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm going to watch it anyways. There's no point in watching all this promo stuff,
Mhm.
but because we're doing this podcast, I kind of had to.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. We're going to see all this cool stuff. In the first 3 episodes, we're definitely going to see the Shan Chan invasion of the western coast of Rhineland. We will absolutely see that. In what capacity? Who knows? But we're going to get some good setup for that. I think we will see Nynaeve's accepted test in one of the first 3 episodes, I think, because that's a big thing for a lot of people. A lot of people love Nynaeve, and that's one thing that I know several people are really looking forward to. So I think they'll lead out early in the season with that.
Yeah.
Because we need to get her as an accepted as fast as possible to get current things going. Because by the end of the season, we're going to see them in Falma or Tyr or wherever they decide to end the season. We've got 8 episodes. Mid-season 2, we could see them in Falma. End of season, we could see Tyr. I have no idea based on everything they've given us so far, but we will definitely see at least the Shan Chan, making ground in Randland early season 2.
I think we're gonna get the first episode's probably gonna start with Lan and Moraine, and we're gonna get some sort of answers as to what's going on with Moraine, even if it's a big old question mark. I think we're definitely gonna go back to the tower. Like you said, I think we'll see Nynaeve's accepted test, and I think we'll see Lan sneaking the Wonder Girls off for their adventures outside the tower because, Wonder Girls are gonna wonder. And yeah, I think we'll definitely see Fawn, we know that. And I think we're gonna go to Tyr, but we'll see.
I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm really looking forward to it, and it sucks because I'm gonna be at DragonCon the day that the season drops, so I'm not gonna be able to stay up till 3 a.m. to watch the episodes. I'm gonna have to wait until I'm home later that night.
Oh, they had announced that they are releasing them at like midnight Pacific time and not Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah, so that for some of us, not like Fenya here, it's gonna be 3 a.m. for us.
Well, but I'm not going to have any kind of cell phone service. I'm gonna be off in the mountains, so I'm not gonna be able to watch it either.
Oh, that's right.
So me and Diane are the only ones that can watch.
I'll be watching it Friday evening or Friday night, late Friday
Oh,
night
yeah.
probably.
Probably.
There's no way I'm just gonna be able to watch one episode. I'm gonna have to watch all 3 back to back. It's gonna be a rough night.
I don't go to sleep until 3 a.m., so I guess I will be staying up.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as much as I'm excited for this, my days of, like, midnight, seeing midnight, they're long gone. I don't stay up that late anymore.
I think they're gone for everybody because they just released the movies at 7 p.m. on Thursday now.
Yeah.
And what you're talking
But-
about, midnight is like my prime working hours.
I would love to be a night owl. Like, I'm a night owl by inclination, but I have dogs and they need to get up early, so I don't stay up until midnight anymore.
Just invite Dianna over.
That's why I have a cat.
So thank you for joining us on our return back to TarValon Talks. If you've got any questions or topics that you'd like to talk about, feel free to send us an email to producer.tvt@gmail.com. Or, if you'd like, you can just join us on tarvalon.net. It's very simple. In our general forums, we've got a special thread called TarValon Talks pinned at the top of the page. Easy to find. You can also chat with us via the tarvalon.net's Discord server and the TarValon Talks Discord channel. Again, very easy to find. TarValon Talks. And also, do not forget to check out the first 3 episodes of Season 2 of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime come September 1st.
I I'd also like to plug the TarValon Twitter account. We're also on Blue Sky, I believe, at TarValon. So if you wanted to talk to us via that way, it'll get to us.
Yeah, everything will find its way back to us. So until next time.